And the rest, I guess, $50,000 was credit cards. And that was like across 15 credit cards. I know.
You're kidding me right now.
No.
You had more credit card debt than you actually owed on your car?
Correct.
What kind of car are you driving?
A Ford Focus.
What's happening? No capping. We with AO, about to get a plate bowl. Pull up to the table. Let's go.
You know, a lot of people get on me because I believe in truly being 100% debt free. I had the opportunities to work with, I believe, the guru when it comes to financial freedom, which is Dave Ramsey. And his whole message is live like no one else so you can live and give like no one else. And the concept of that is be 100% debt free. So anytime I can get on my show, my platform, and really share the message of getting debt free, eliminating your debt, and building that freedom, I'm going to get on here. And so there is this young lady I've been following for a while. And oftentimes we bring people on the show and tell y'all how they paid off all their debt. I've never really had someone on the show who's going through the actual process, the journey, the experience, the frustrations, the I want to give up, and willing to share what they're doing, why they started, how are they feeling, what's their process looking like. And I mean, man, she's built her whole brand around sharing and being real, relevant, and transparent with where she is at with her journey. So y'all, I am super excited about my friend Nika Booth, who is joining us at the table today. She is currently still in debt, but she is currently black and proud saying, I am on the journey of financial freedom. And so I really want y'all to lock in for these next few minutes and just really walk through this process. And this will be the first time I had someone on my show going through the journey with us. And y'all know me. Y'all know me. I'm gonna enjoy this show. But before we get to my sister, real quick, man, you guys, I want to thank today's sponsor of today's show, Bethel Tech. Do not forget that if you really want to get extra income coming in so that way you can really start attacking your debt, the key thing is making your shovel bigger, which is your income bigger. And I think one of the #1 career fields that are producing 100,000aires and millionaires is the tech field. I really do believe that tech is becoming the new black. My boy Cyrus has actually coined that phase. And pretty much what that's saying is that a lot of black people need to get into tech because the income is there. And if we're going to close that wealth gap, 1, we got to be a homeowner. We'll talk about that later on in the show. And then 2, we got to get some income coming in, and that's tech. So 9 months, you can go to Bethel Tech. You can go to anthonyneal.com/Bethel. It's a 9-month program. Tell them you were sent over there by your boy AO, and they will give you a $1,000 to $1,500 scholarship. They will also even help you with paying like the $15,000 to $17,000 boot camp fee. But then within 9 months, you can change your next 9 years. You could be making anywhere between $80,000 to up to high 6 figures within the next 12 months of your life. Because I'm telling y'all right now, after you watch today's story with this amazing queen, and how she's winning in life and how she's eliminating this process of her debt, y'all, it's gonna be amazing. She came in here on fire. Can I be real with y'all? Because this is the table, right? She was like, oh, you really are black. I was like, what the heck? I said, what? Huh? So y'all, welcome to the table, my sister from DC. I'm in DC, but not in DC. And she's like, you are not in DC. I am in DC, though.
No.
PG County is DC.
You're on the outskirts of DC.
But I can't tell people I'm on the outskirts.
Yeah,
I gotta tell people I'm in DC.
You say you live in the suburbs of DC.
Okay, I like that. I live in the suburbs of DC. I live in the suburbs. Yo, Nika, what's up?
What's up, AO?
Yo, man, listen. Man, let's get straight into it because you have an amazing story.
Thank you.
And I was like, yo, when I was reading your story, when I followed you a while ago, I was like, all right, let me study a little bit more. I was like, wow, this woman is really being transparent, open on social media about where you are, you know? Yeah. And so what's the name of your brand?
Debt Free Gonna Be. Debt
Free Gonna Be. And that stands for you are about to be debt free.
Yes. Absolutely.
Will your brand change when you become debt free?
It will not. Because as much as it is about my journey, about me gonna be debt free, it is also like a declaration. I'm gonna be debt free. And so even though my journey may be coming to somewhat of an end, at least when it comes to paying off debt, obviously the journey continues with other financial goals, there are still gonna be people who need help in getting out of debt. And they're gonna appreciate the transparency that has been my journey. They're gonna appreciate the community that I've built there of like-minded people that are supportive and non-judgmental. They're gonna need that space. And so Debt Free Gonna Be is going to remain the name of that brand.
So when did that click in your head that, you know what, I'm going to be debt free? I want to be debt free.
Back in 2018, honestly, I had kind of started and stopped and started my journey several times, like kind of half-tail doing it.
Yeah.
But I was just tired of knowing that I made decent money, but I never had it to show anything. I had nothing to show for it. Every time I turned around, every time I got paid, I owed somebody. And it's like, it's like something's got to give. And so I knew what it felt like to quit. So I said, you know what, this is it. 10 toes down, get it together. The information has been put out there in multiple places. You know what you need to do to start. If you say you want this life of freedom, you got to do the work in order to get there. And so I started my journey in fall of 2018 with about $189,000 of debt.
Wow.
Yeah.
$189,000.
Indeed.
Of debt in the fall of 2018.
Yes.
All right, let's break that down.
Let's go.
What I'm going to guess the majority of that has to be student loans.
Oh, yes, about 70% of it. So about $134,000 was student loans.
Okay.
I had about $5,000 left on my car loan.
Okay.
And then the rest, I guess $50,000 was credit cards. And that was like across 15 credit cards. I know.
You're kidding me right now.
No.
You had more credit card debt than you actually owed on your car?
Correct.
What kind of car are you driving?
A Ford Focus.
And you owed $5,000 on the car.
Yeah, that was what was left, yeah.
And you had $50,000 between 15 credit cards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Can I keep it real with you?
Absolutely.
Were you smoking weed back then?
No, I wasn't. No judgment. No, but I was not. No, I spent a lot of time financing my life, keeping up with people, buying clothes and shoes for situationships.
Clothes and shoes for situationships?
Yes. I was going on trips every time somebody was like, oh, let's go somewhere. I was like, okay, cool, swipe. And honestly, some of that was just really me shuffling, doing balance transfers from one credit card to another. And, it's still debt, but I was just moving it from one place to another.
Why 15? Okay, but.
Yeah.
I know how old you are. Are you comfortable saying how old you are?
Sure, I'm 41.
So back then you was what, 38, 37?
Yeah.
38 with 15 credit cards? Why?
Because they kept giving them to me. They kept giving them to me. I didn't have bad credit. I mean, I went through a bad credit phase, but this was way before I even started my journey. But, and then I had like a Navy Federal credit union, and they're notorious for giving you like these large balances.
Navy Fed is everybody's favorite bank when it comes to financing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So that's it. I mean, moving debt around, swiping. And then the crazy thing is I would pay off debt here, just rack it up over here, and I was in this kind of like this cycle. I was caught in this credit card trap because on top of having this debt, I also wasn't managing my money properly. I didn't know about budgeting. I didn't know all of these hacks and things and calling up and negotiating fees and getting this canceled. And, I didn't know as much as I know now about money management and saving and investing and managing your debt and paying off your debt. But that's not even it. I got more.
More what?
That 189 went up.
Don't tell me you financed more.
No, I didn't finance more.
So how'd it go up?
So I had paid off about $16,000, including my car.
Okay.
Around summer of 2019.
Okay.
But as transparent as I had been about my journey when I started, I also had some outstanding tax returns to file. And I knew that if I was going to be completely transparent, 100%, and I'm going to be tackling all of my debt, that I had to file those tax returns. And the only reason why I hadn't is because, of course, I owed. And this was from under withholding, pretty much. Basically, I wanted extra money on my paycheck every time I got paid. So I hired a professional to help me. And we filed the tax returns, and at first it appeared it would be like $17,000. Now remember, I had paid off $16,000, including my car.
Right.
The bill came because it was for 2 years, both for DC and the IRS.
Oh no.
With interest and penalties, it was $21,946.35, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. So that's how my balance went from 189 down by 16,000 up to 211. So I was in more debt than when I originally started.
Transparent question.
Absolutely.
Why did you not file those 2 years? Because I've been there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I did that when I was selling cars. I didn't file that year because I made so much money the first time.
Yeah.
And what I was doing was I went back into my W-2s where I can do my claims.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first got my first paycheck, I saw it was coming. I was selling all these cars. Oh, I'm about to make 15 grand. I was like, you're not going to see 15 grand. I was like, I know, because them taxes about to hit me. So I went in there and changed all of them, changed my claims to like 15 so I can keep a lot of my money because I was about to go on a trip to go with the old lady at the time. So I was like, yo, I need to get all that. I need at least 10 grand in my pocket so I could ball out.
Yeah.
My dumb behind didn't go back in there and change it. That was you too?
That was me. I wanted that extra money. Yeah. And so to answer your question, I didn't file because I knew I owed. You know, when you are not in control of your money, and I see this, I see this on social media with the people that I've met with one-on-one. We do this thing where we avoid, right? Because it all seems too much, right? The burden of being in debt and not being able to manage our finances and being out of control. And so we avoid. And you see it with people who don't open bills when they come in the mail or don't respond to, emails or calls, from debt collectors or people trying to say, hey, your bill's late, even before it goes to collections. And so that was part of that behavior that I had from the past where I knew I owed and I wasn't ready to face it yet.
And I think that there is a method, right, to where, I don't know if you teach this on your platform, but I do teach this, that you should go in there and claim the correct amount so you can break even.
Yes.
Not break and owe the IRS more.
Correct.
Because I do believe that, hey, you should be claiming more than one.
Yeah.
Go sit down with a CPA, a financial advisor, and say, hey, listen, how do I properly claim for the season that I'm in so that way I can break even? But my dumb behind, both of us were dumb back then with our finances. We said, hey, I want to keep more money.
Yeah.
Then I just forgot to go back and do it because I was like, y'all, I'm getting this bag.
Yeah.
Let me get this bag.
Yeah.
And I got the bag.
And
then when I got that IRS, let me tell you, I ain't never said this before. Have I said it before? I never said this before on my show. You transparent, I'm transparent. Here's how I found out that I owe the IRS. They froze my bank account.
No.
They froze it. I was at McDonald's. I'll never forget that day. I was at McDonald's with this young lady. We went to lunch together. And I was getting this is when they had the 2 double cheeseburgers. You can get 2 double cheeseburgers on Tuesdays. You can get double cheeseburgers on Tuesdays. No, it wasn't double. It was like regular cheeseburgers for like 39.25 cents. Yeah. I literally was only swiping like $3 to get us some cheeseburgers, some fries, and this when they were selling the large iced tea.
Yeah.
For 99 cents, like $3-4, right? And it was declined.
Wow.
It was declined. I was like, I know I have at least $10 in my account.
Yeah.
I maybe had about then by like a couple thousand, but I was like, I know I got this. Is what? Wait, what? Called them.
Wow.
Called the bank and said, hey, the IRS has froze your account. I called the IRS. I was like, hey, sir, you owe us close to $28,000. I was like, $28,000? What are you talking about? Yeah, from back then. So the lady at my church, she filed my parents' taxes, and she was like, hey, I can go back in there and we could properly write this thing off, but I can't get this thing to zero.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. So what I got to do? So I had to add that on top of my debt-free journey as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel now? 41 years old, you're paying off debt, you don't have any kids, you're not married, you have a great full-time job in the public service side of things, and then you do this on the side.
Yeah.
And it's like I gotta ask you this question: why? Like, why do you want the financial freedom?
I want options. I want more of my money, whether that be earned from my full-time job or earned through this business. I want more of my money to be able to dictate what I do with it. I don't want to get paid and have to pay other people. I mean, there are some things, a mortgage, you got bills, regular things for you to live and stuff. I want to be able to do more with my money instead of turning around and having to pay interest, having to pay someone else. I also want more of my money to be able to help my family. I have family members who, not that I am responsible for them. Let me make that clear. I have a responsibility to them, and I'm not responsible for their mismanagement of money. But I also have a mother who's getting older. I have a mother who has health challenges. I want to be able to support where I can. And I can't do that if I've got all this overhead. I've got all these people in my pocket wanting money from me every time I get paid. I want to be able to put more of my money to work for me, for the things that matter to me.
Okay. All right. You're just like me. You my sister for real. I'm serious. I say, a lot of people ask me, like, Anthony, why do you lean on the debt-free side? And I'm like, well, because I want freedom and I want options.
Yeah.
I grew up without options. I had, back then, you know this because you're older than me. It's like, we don't older than my mouth.
I was going to say, why you got to say it like that?
Like 4 years. Let's be real. You ain't that old. You my sister. You know what I'm saying? So, but back then in the 90s, man, in California, we couldn't work without a work permit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They don't have work. Did your daughter have to get a work permit, CJ?
Nah, she was 17. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't. Do they even require work permits anymore for people younger? I don't think so,
I don't
right?
know.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I had to get a work permit to go get a job at 14, and I only could work 10 hours a week in California. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I turned that age, mom and daddy was like, yo, bro, you ain't going over there. Get your behind to work.
Yeah.
Go to work.
Yeah.
And I would ride my bike off of Highway 76 to go to Taco Bell to work. And I will remember my parents like, are you going to work today? I was like, yeah, bring us home something to eat. Because my parents weren't broke, but we were definitely living paycheck to paycheck.
Sure.
And so it was like, for me, I'm like, man, we didn't have options. We didn't take family vacations. Mm-hmm. We didn't take, family out of the state, out of the country trips. We went to Six Flags because our church went to Six Flags, not because the family was going to Six Flags. And I was like, man, I want to be able to have the freedom to give my wife and I the option to do what we want to do with that. And one of my good friends, they want the same option. It's like, bro, we want the exact same option. And that's why they want financial freedom. Yeah. And so, but 200,000 plus debt. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a house somewhere.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Was it discouraging? Because I think there's people looking just like, yo, how is she smiling right now? How is she still joyful right now? Like, she's 41, and she's like, yo, good girl. Oh, you crazy. Oh, Baba. You know what I'm saying? How is she, like, you in your 40s and you still got joy?
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you processing through this journey right now?
First of all, I've been through worse. I've been through worse. And what I didn't say, what kind of really was the catalyst in this, in me really pursuing my why, was shortly after starting my journey as a federal, I'm a federal employee, I was furloughed.
You was furloughed.
So no, keep in mind, this is me, serious, absolutely. I'm getting out of debt. I start my journey in September 2018. By December 2018, I'm furloughed, working full time, receiving partial pay, and had no idea what my paycheck was going to look like. And during that time, it was a different administration that wasn't really all cozy with federal, the federal workforce. Had no idea how long it was going to last. It lasted 35 days. And I remember doing that 35 days. I said, when this is over, never again. No one is ever going to dictate when I get paid, how much I get paid, or my ability to be able to take care of myself. And that's really what lit the fire in me. And so, no, not a lot of people could go through all the ups and downs of a journey tackling six-figure debt the way that I had. But I've been through worse, and I've weathered all of those ups and downs, from the furlough to the tax debt to 2020 and not knowing what that was going to look like. And I'm still here. So absolutely I have joy because I didn't quit, and I now see what happens when you don't quit. I quit before. I knew what that felt like. I was going to stay broke.
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
But now I'm sitting here with an emergency fund.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here having increased my retirement, my investing.
Yeah.
with just my student loans left.
Wow. So your credit card, 15 credit cards.
Done.
They gone.
Gone. Because I didn't quit. So absolutely I got joy because I am literally living the life that I am building. I'm still in the middle. I haven't gotten all the way there.
Right.
But as I've paid off debt, I've freed up money that I'm able to put towards the things that matter to me.
Yeah.
So when my mama call or she has, a medical bill, guess what?
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know people saying, well, wait, you still got this student loan debt.
Yep.
But you talking about you giving money way over here. So what are you doing about the student loan debt? I know my people. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, y'all. I asked the same question before the interview. Like, hold up, Shawty. What you mean you got this debt over here? But I think that there is a good strategy that you have in place with the new red tape and the new remix of the student loan laws.
Yes.
That this administration has put together.
Absolutely.
And I like that because beforehand, I think before what this administration just did with the student loans, I would have been like, you need to be attacking your student loans because before it was only getting approved about 1 to 2% for the forgiveness.
Absolutely.
But because you work in the federal government and in the public sector side, you are now, how much student loans do you have left?
$133,000.
And based upon the new laws for student loan forgiveness, all 100 of that will be...
It'll be gone. So all they've done is they've relaxed the rules for public service loan forgiveness. So that's not subject to litigation like Biden's like 10K student loan forgiveness.
Right.
That's not that. This is an established program. And what they've done is they've realized the program wasn't working the way it was supposed to for the people who are taking a pay cut to work in public service, right?
Right.
So they've relaxed the rules under this waiver that's expiring literally on the 31st.
Okay.
And through that waiver, they're going back to do retroactive credit for payments that would not have qualified. And because of that, my payment counts have jumped from maybe 30, you need 120 payments.
Right.
They jumped from like 30 and me needing to be in public service for at least 5 more years.
Right.
They're over 100 now.
Over 100.
And there's one more adjustment that needs to take place before the end of the year, and all my loans are going to be gone.
All of them will be gone.
All 133,000.
So now let me ask you this question, because I teach people don't depend on the White House.
Agreed.
No focus in your house.
Agreed.
What are the possibilities from your seat that last piece will not happen?
It's not possible that it won't.
It's not possible.
It's not possible that it won't. They'll be gone.
They'll be gone.
I am absolutely 100% certain that they will be gone.
So the people are saying right now, okay, wait, thank God. Amen. You know what I'm saying? Let's break this down a little bit more for them. How can they see if they fall up underneath the same guidelines as you?
Sure. So the rule is you have to work full time for in public service for a public service organization or other not-for-profit. Full time.
Full time.
And
not part time.
Not part time.
Not even 39 hours.
Absolutely not.
40 hours or more.
40 hours or more. And someone has to be able to attest to that, meaning someone at that organization, or multiple, because people can put together 10 years, right? From multiple organizations. Someone has to sign a form to say, yes, you worked 40 hours full time at this place that is designated a public service organization or a IRS nonprofit organization. Submit that paperwork, and actually there are tons of tools online at studentaid.gov. They've got a tool to help you see if your employer actually is in the database. And even if they're not, that doesn't mean they don't qualify.
Okay.
But they have to fit those two criteria, public service or not-for-profit.
Yeah.
All right? And they are counting prior periods of repayment. The original rules of PSLF requires you to make these payments like within 15 days of the due date, and it has to be a certain repayment plan, and you have to make the payment in full. They're counting lump sum, partial payments, late payments. So when I'm telling you it's life-changing, literally for me and millions of other people.
For real.
For real. So, and that's why literally my content has kind of shifted from my general debt payoff journey to student loans, because so many people get confused about all the information that's out there. They're confused whether public service loan forgiveness, PSLF, is the same thing Biden's talking about. They're different programs.
Break that down.
They're two completely different relief efforts. You know, Biden's forgiveness is income-based, right? Public service loan forgiveness is not.
Right.
Biden's loan forgiveness is up to $20,000. Public service loan forgiveness is any of your outstanding student loan debt.
Right.
So they're very different. And so I'm doing my best to get the word out, on a daily basis, because there were millions of people who actually already qualified for public service loan forgiveness.
Yep.
They hadn't done their paperwork.
And on the public loan side, that doesn't cover your private loans.
No, it does not.
Yeah.
Both of these efforts are for federal loans only.
I had to say that, y'all.
You did.
Know what I'm saying? Because I know somebody say, oh, wait, I got private. I don't know, private is private.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Private is private. I am not a fan of student loans. Here's what I will say. If you take out student loans, the better option is always going to be federal.
Yeah.
But y'all know me. I wrote the book, Debt Free Degree.
Listen, whole book about it.
I wrote a whole book about it, because a lot of people don't think they can go to school debt free. And I think, now, those are the people who are not willing to put in the work.
Agreed.
In my opinion.
Agreed.
Because I think there's a lot of people out there who went to school and they just didn't know. They didn't know, and it's cool. I didn't know neither, and I didn't even finish school. But my sister graduated with 6 figures in debt, and they just paid it off a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man. So if the key thing right now, and we're going to drop the information and some links in the show notes to help you all go there to fill out the application. So go check out the show note links, because I'm telling you right now, this is going to be important. You got to do this by October 31st. So I'm telling y'all, do this after November 1st. What should they do if they didn't take advantage of this?
Well, we've got to prepare for student loan payments and interest to resume. The interest waiver and the payment pause on federal student loans expires on December 31st. So while there's a lot going on in the news about, the lawsuit for Biden student loan forgiveness and everybody's distracted, that bill's going to come due in January sometime, right? And so the best thing you can do is, especially if you have federal student loans and, private loans, you've been paying on them through this whole entire pandemic.
Yep.
But for those who have federal student loans, majority of them have not been making payments for over 2 years because they've been saving, trying to live, breathe a little bit or pay off higher interest debt.
Absolutely.
Right? So you got to prepare, and that's making sure your contact information is up to date, knowing how much you owe in total, right? And who you owe it to. So if you don't know your loan servicer, you're going to link it, but you can find that out on studentaid.gov.
Yep.
Then check in your budget, because hopefully you got a budget, right?
Yeah.
Some people have experienced lifestyle creep because they haven't been making these payments over 2 years. They've been buying more, and I get inflation and the cost of everything is high, but they've been buying more, because they've had this extra money in their budget. So you got to look at your budget, check your spending, make the necessary adjustments, because those payments are going to come due. Now, of course, if you can't afford to make payments, there are options. You can talk to your loan servicer, get on the right repayment plan, or request some type of forbearance. I just highly recommend that only if you absolutely can't make your payment, because that interest is a problem.
It is. That interest is going to be a huge problem for a lot of people, unfortunately.
But I will say they are making changes coming in July of next year that would limit the amount of events under which the interest capitalizes when it's added back onto the loan balance. So they recognize that there is a problem. They are trying to do some things. And some of just going back to public service loan forgiveness real quick, there are some concessions or relief in the waiver that they are making permanent, but that's not going to come until July, right? So there's this huge gap in which people aren't going to be able to benefit if they don't meet the waiver deadline on the 31st. But there are some changes that are coming to student loans, and hopefully they come without any type of legal challenges, because people are burdened. People can't make, they're having to make these decisions. Do I buy a home or have student loans? Do I start a family or have student loans? There are a lot of people who are crippled by this.
And that leads me into the second sponsor of the day. I really want to thank them because, one thing that Nika said was student loans are preventing people from starting dreams, from building wealth, and watch this, from actually becoming an actual home owner. A lot of people think, well, because my student loans are deferred, I don't owe it, so I can still get into a home. And honestly, that's not the case necessarily. But my friends over at Churchill Mortgage are actually helping people get into homes with their student loans still being on there. because I do understand that right now times are a little bit difficult. Times are a little weird, especially with high interest rates. But here's what I love is that if we are going to close the wealth gap, or if you are my white brothers and sisters, continue to build wealth, home ownership is a key ingredient to actually building wealth. And I think the best company in the world to go through your financing with, they financed all of my homes, is Churchill Mortgage, because they're going to give you a guaranteed approval. They're going to give you the lowest interest rate possible. They're going to help you get into your dream home. They're going to help you marry the home and then date the rate, because they understand, hey, they want you in a lower rate as well. So they're going to teach you the process on how do you date it, how do you keep looking, and how do we get rid of that boyfriend, girlfriend, and get a better rate, a better relationship for the home. And then not only that, they're gonna give you extra $5,000 to go on top of your earnest money. So let's say, for an example, you go in there and you said, all right, buyer, seller, I'm giving you my earnest money. Also, Churchill's giving you an extra $5,000 on top of it, because you know what? We believe that, hey, this is a guaranteed process. And one thing about Churchill that they do, which is so perfect to me, is before they give you their pre-approval, they do all the research on you. They make sure your income is good. They make sure your credit is right. They make sure that they feel once you go to under closing, you're good. So that way, when you go to present everything, there's nothing that can happen, and they're willing to put $5,000 of their money on top of it. So I want you to go to anthonyoneal.com/Churchill. Again, that is anthonyoneal.com/Churchill. Let my friends take good care of you, even if you do still have some student loans or some current debt right now. I'm not a huge fan of getting into a mortgage with a bunch of debt, but in these days and times, I do understand that home ownership, especially within a minority community, is helping us close that wealth gap and helping us build wealth. And so I will call them and just check with Churchill, see if you're in a good position to be a homeowner, and they'll walk you through the whole process. All right, so check them out, anthonyoneal.com/Churchill. I love those people. So all right, let's walk this through. How did you pay off your debt? How did you get the majority of your consumer debt going? Because right now you just have your student loan debt.
Yeah.
Right. So when you went up to 211,000, and you have how much left right now?
133.
So that's about 80 grand.
Mm-hmm.
80 grand that you've paid off within the last 2-3 years.
3 years.
Okay, 3 years. Ballpark figure between everything. How much are you making a year? Ballpark figure.
150.
150, and that's in DC.
Correct.
And so the cost of living here in DC is going to be a little bit cheaper. High, but other places will be a little bit cheaper than that. Okay, so what would you say the cost of living is here? Because my guys are sitting here saying, see,
it's too high. But I will also say I own.
Exactly.
So my mortgage is under $1,000.
Alex, you ain't saying nothing there. When did you buy your house?
2017.
That's not a long time ago, you guys.
Way better rates.
And I did. Yeah, my rate is really good.
But I'm saying though, is what would you say the average rent here is in DC?
Oh, upwards of 2,000, I'm sure. And honestly, that's an ignorant guess because I haven't looked. But I just know rent is high.
Rent is high.
Yeah, and that's for a studio.
That's for a studio.
Yeah.
Right. A family home is going to be about $3,000-4,000.
Oh, more than that. I mean, the house across the street from me is sold for $1.1 million.
1 point something million.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, for me, I just like that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's great for the value of my home, but I'm also looking out across the street saying, those houses might be outside of my budget, yes, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So you paid off 80 grand. You're making about $150 with everything that you do.
Yep.
Right. So that's $150 gross.
Yeah.
So you're seeing about 90 to 110 net.
Yeah.
Depending on how you're writing your stuff off. How are you living? Do you think you live a modest life? You think you live a very budget friendly life, or you saying, you know what? I'm good now.
I live a budget-friendly life. Like, I'm still very much, although I've paid off that debt and I have some extra money when I get paid, I'm still very much budget conscious. But there were things that I never cut out. I just cut back.
Example.
Yeah, so I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a huge Washington Nationals fan.
Oh.
And I actually have season tickets, half season, not full season.
Okay.
So I didn't cut that out, but what I did, instead of swiping my credit card every time the bill came due, I saved for it. So I set up a sinking fund and set aside every time I got paid until I had the full amount, and then paid for my tickets when the bill came due. So like I still did that. I still ate out. I just didn't do it every week, or it would be a happy hour to save money, and
You drink a little?
I drink a little bit, yeah, not a whole lot, but I drink a little.
I think she being conservative at the time.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You brunching in DC?
Not as much as not as much post-COVID.
Okay.
But I did. Sunday Fun Day was a thing,
Oh, yeah.
especially when I first moved to DC.
All right.
But when I first moved to DC, I wasn't on my debt-free journey either, right? So a friend would call, be like, let's do Sunday Fun Day. Okay, and I'm all day long out day drinking.
Come on.
Right? Spending money here, go over here, let's go down U Street. And I'm not doing that now. Mainly because I'm old, but also because I'm more budget conscious.
Well, I love it. No, I genuinely do love it. Man, I wish we had more time on the show for you, because this is just absolutely amazing. But we're going to drop all of Nika's information in today's show notes. I want y'all to go check her out. Go check out her Instagram, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to bless you tremendously. Follow her Going to Be Debt-Free journey. She's been able to walk this process, and I love it. I was like, yo, come share a portion of your journey with us. So we'll drop all her show information in today's show notes. Make sure to check out my sponsors. Go get you a mortgage. Get into Bethel Tech, and I promise you'll thank me later. Yo, it's your boy Anthony O'Neal. We'll see you on the next show. Peace out.